In this video I kind of go all over the place. I didn't stay focused on one thing, and I should have, but that's the way it is. So I tried to cut it down a little bit at places and elaborate in other places. So here it is.
The movie of the week. Each week, a motion picture made especially for the movie of the week.
This is the Egyptian Book of the Dead. This is actually a commentary on Proverbs, but I'm using it to represent Proverbs. This is a fantastic 2-volume set that comes in 2 volumes. This is the second volume. This is volume 1, the one we're going to focus on. The Ancient Near East. Fantastic pictures, and basically all the text, maybe not all of it, but close to all the texts from this period of the 3rd millennium BC, which I've read, if you want to call them the scholars, the professors that have really studied Sumeria and the Ancient Near East texts. They say if you can gather from all of this, like even just 10% of what they're trying to say, you're really covering all of it. So this is really a fantastic book. We're going to relate them all together in just a second. Of course, what I mean by relate is not the way some have related the book of Proverbs as being simply a rewriting of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, because this isn't a rewriting of this. And we're going to cover the law texts that some on YouTube are saying that Moses just basically copied. For example, the law code of Hammurabi. There are people on YouTube saying that basically the Mosaic Law is just simply, a copy, a con job. Moses was a con artist. He just knew about this and knew about the Hammurabi text and copied it. But the only problem is, everyone knew about the law code of Hammurabi. Everyone in the Near East. It wasn't a secret little thing that came out of Egypt. It's a post-Diluvian, and probably, I'd say, well, for sure, a post-Tower of Babel creation. Okay, well, while we're on this Hammurabi code in this book, The Ancient Near East, where it talks about the legal codes, and you're looking at the this rock carving that was discovered, that has the entire Hammurabi code on it. It's showing Hammurabi in the act of receiving the commission to write the law book from the god of justice, the sun god Shamash. The stela, that's this black rock carving, was carried off to the old Elamite capital. And the dating for all this is around 1728 BC, according to this book. And when you read these laws, you really don't see any relation to Moses' biblical law that God gave to Moses, to the world. There's no real similarity at all. Let's see, there are how many laws in the Hammurabi Code? There are 282. It doesn't take long to read it. It's not a whole lot of pages. But when you read it, you really don't see a relationship to the law that God gave to Moses. There's really no relation at all, no similarity. This is just an old law that came about after the Noahic flood and the Tower of Babel. This was after the dispersion of the races around the planet. And this is just a law that basically what you're saying is Hammurabi on the left side, that's a man. You know, if you look at him, he looks like he's about, I don't know, 5'10", 5'11". Let's just round it off to 6 feet tall. And the one sitting to the right is a giant. What I did is I went in and I cut the giant into sections so that I could stand him up. Yeah, it's not the greatest job, but look, you can look at the picture and you can see how if Hammurabi on the left is approximately 5'10", 5'11", or 6 feet tall, then the god on the right side looks like he's about 12, well, maybe not 12 feet tall, but let's see, 8, 9 feet tall. And look at his headdress as opposed to the guy on the left, who has a normal rounded earth-shaped head, human-shaped head. The god is, you know, he's wearing this thing on his head, like, you know, those hats you've seen the Egyptians wear that cover their real elongated skull. This guy who gave him the law was a fallen giant. And that's where that law came from. And being that the god name is Shamash, the sun god Shamash, I'm going to look in this other book and see if there's any reference to Shamash. The divine speaker is Yahweh Sabaoth, Hebrew counterpart to U2 and Ra, Lord of Hosts. Sun God. This is a very good book written by a genius. It's talking about the Tower of Babel. That would be why he's called Hammurabi, the human. Hammurabi is the human. Shamash is the giant false god that gave him the Hammurabi code, law code. And it all relates to Ham. So, Hammurabi. It's not Moses' law. Hello. Yeah, it's me. Yeah. I'm back. Took a big long break from that last little segment that you saw. And once again, we're wearing the wrong glasses. See, all of you far-sighted people understand what I'm talking about. We're going to get back into into these things here in a second. But I want to just take a little break here for a moment. Isn't that great? Lies. Number 9, lies. I guess I'll show you this one right now. Oh, yeah, okay. That's basically in frame. Let me move that and get it more in frame. There you go. Okay, see, lies. Number 9. Number 9? Number 9. Paul is dead. Turn me on, dead man. Turn me on, dead man. Look at the rainbow. It's upside down. The red and the indigo ultraviolet, that's not the way a rainbow works. This is the reverse of it. It's a lie. Lies. Let's turn it upside down. And what do we get? We get number 6. We get the proper way the rainbow works. And if you really understand what you're seeing right here, this is a pyramid with the all-seeing eye. And these are numbers. And they all add up. This is a 2. This is a 3. This is a 1. This is a 7. And what do we have with that? Well, let's count it. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And 13 in the Bible is the beginning of rebellion. It's the rebellion verse. Check out Genesis chapter 13 and you'll see the first time rebellion is mentioned in Scripture. I want to show some books here that I think, I'm just looking at the monitor, don't mind me, that I think everyone should try to get a hold of. There are paperback versions of these books. These are the hardcover versions. Immanuel Velikovsky's Worlds in Collision. Read this book. It's amazing. Okay. After he did that, he made this book. Made it. Yeah, he made the book. No, he wrote this book, Earth in Upheaval, by Immanuel Velikovsky. Another genius, amazing book. Read this guy. He's all for the Noahic flood, the true time span history of the plagues of Egypt, and that leads to the next book, which actually is my favorite Immanuel Velikovsky book because it's a pure work of genius. Ages in Chaos. And in this book, as it says right here, if you can read it, a reconstruction of ancient history from Exodus to King Akhenaton. I say that bad. But basically, it's King Obama, if you want to go there. This is one of the great books of all time. This one, Ages in Chaos. Get it. I know it's out on paperback. You can get it cheap. If there are any more used bookstores, find it there in a paperback form. This is just a hardcover version. I bought it a long time ago. Genius. Saved by grace, not by works. Remember that. Always keep that in mind. Wrong glasses again. The right glasses. Okay. We're going to get into this in a second here. And we just looked at some of the Immanuel Velikovsky books, which were pretty cool. Even, Ed Wood Jr., which is, if you've never seen his movies, I don't recommend them. Now, before we move any further, I want to say a couple things about the Puritans. Now, this is, okay, I keep looking because I'm looking at a monitor, so don't think I'm just like trying to, look at me, aren't I, something, because I'm nothing. This is Volume 1, Volume 2, The Writings of John Bradford. You all know who he is, right? Oh, that's right, you don't. Well, before you start criticizing the Puritans, you gotta check him out. You gotta read his actual writings, huh? Instead of just relying on Wikipedia about the witch-burning Puritans. Just start thinking. for a moment. The Reformation. Do not neglect, okay? Do not neglect the Reformation. All these symbols you see right here, it's interpreted as the greater and lesser cycle. Okay, let's start again. It's interpreted as the greater and lesser cycles of the gods. Now here's what's interesting is, look at all those. Look at all that symbol right there. That's how it's interpreted. This symbol is the greater and lesser cycles of the gods. If you break that down, there are 18 of these symbols. 18. If you break it down further, you can break it down into threes, 3 sixes. Now, look up here. See that? This is simply the gods. So there's the God symbol. Here it is again. The gods. The God symbol. It's these same three things. So this one is very interesting because it's a God symbol broken down into 18 of those symbols that breaks down, if you split it up into 3 sixes, which 666 equals 18, and when you turn it upside down, you have 18 sixes. Oh, just real quick before we go, let's take a look at the incredible 666 verse. It's if you look here, you'll see that there's 1, there's book 2, there's book 3, there's book 4, book 5, and book 6. It's Joshua. Joshua is the 6th book in the Bible. Now we will look at chapter 6, verse 6. So with this we have 666. And what do we have at 666? Well, it starts off with Joshua, the son of Nun, called the priests, said unto them, take up the ark of the covenant, so forth and so forth. Talks about 7 trumpets, horns, and the ark of the Lord. Now, it may not sound significant, but it all relates to the end days, to the book of Revelation, to the rebuilding of the temple, and the ark of the covenant is going to be a part of that beast Antichrist temple that is going to be built in Israel before the end. There's nothing good about it, because that's where the Antichrist is going to, be. They're going to rediscover the Ark of the Covenant. Interesting, 7 trumpets. That's what's all about in the book of Revelation, 7 trumpets. And here's the most interesting aspect of it all. It's probably going to offend some people, but hey, you just have to face it. Let's switch over to where it will show the Hebrew words. Now, let's click on the meaning of the word Joshua. And we'll slide down here and look at that meaning. And as you can see, it's that good old Yhowshua. How do you even pronounce it? Yhowshua. Yeshua, what people like to use when they're talking about Jesus Christ now. They like to say Yeshua. And Jesus has nothing to do with this. This is Joshua. I mean, for you Christians that are using Yeshua in replace of Jesus, you might as well just say Michael is Jesus, like the Urantia people are doing. I mean, Michael's not Jesus and Joshua's not Jesus. It's as simple as that. So there you go. That's the 666 verse in the Bible. Book, chapter, and verse, 666. And it all relates to the end. You know, I have a feeling that the Antichrist is going to probably, you know, we all know he's going to be a religious fake. He's probably going to be using Yhowshua, not Jesus. And the dumb Christians, which I'm one of them, I just try to be not as dumb, or maybe I'm dumber. But anyway, the Christians that are being deceived by this sacred name movement today, they're just going to fall for it, aren't they? Because they're falling for it now. Anyway, that's the end. I just wanted to end it on that note. And I have some other things in the next video that are going to be interesting. So I'll see you then. Bye.
The movie of the week.